Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fish Tank. Great to have you here. Now, if you've been checking out my Twitch streams recently, you may have seen us dabble in some spreadsheeting. That's right, we've been checking out some spreadsheets relating to Minion Masters, win rates, play rates, stuff like that. And I thought it might be interesting to go through that quickly as a YouTube video. Now, if you're not familiar with the current situation with Minion Masters, the devs have stopped developing the game in the sense that there's going to be no more new content, except some new recolor skins coming, but no new cards, no new perks. But there will be monthly balance changes. But the balance changes, interestingly and excitingly, are going to be driven by the community. So the idea is that if you've got an idea for something you want buffed or nerfed or changed, but keep in mind, there's only so much that can be done at the moment. The changes do need to be as simple as possible. So sort of we're mostly looking at just changing sort of numbers. But yeah, with that in mind, if you want to get involved in stuff that you want to suggest, go to the Minion Masters Discord, go to the balance change section, give your suggestion. Say what it is, say what you want changed, say, you know, the rationale behind it, and then people will upvote it or downvote it. And if it gets enough support, then it might just make it into the game. Now, that's been going on for a little while, and one of the things the devs have done to kind of help us with that journey is they've given us something that they haven't given us really before at all, and that is a spreadsheet of win rates and play rates for masters, for perks, and for cards, for different game modes. So, of course, that doesn't tell you the whole story, but that's definitely a useful part of it. Because basically what's going to happen at the end of the month or, you know, the end of the period, and there is sort of a hard deadline for patch changes, for balance changes for the next patch, which have got to be in by the 15th. So if you've got ideas, submit them quickly. I'll put the link to this spreadsheet that we'll look at in the description. Everything will be in there if you want to check it out for yourself, but we'll go through it quickly here. So yeah, at the end of the period, the Council will look at the changes, the ones that have the most support, assuming that they're sensible and easy to do, they will go through. But as I said, one of the things that we've got to give us sort of some source data, as well as our experience with playing the game, is this spreadsheet. So let's have a look at it now. So the devs have given us, so what I've done, I've taken the base spreadsheet, which is just these hero win rates, perk names, which is something that, thanks for Matt for that. The perk win rate data and the card data, and then if you look down the bottom here, we've got all these different tabs for the different sections. So for example, we'll look at 1v1 for masters. So let's zoom this in a little bit. Okay, so we've got win rate and play rate. So Volko at the moment having the highest win rate in solos, and a reasonably high play rate of 8%. So we've got Volko, Ratbo, and Valorant, the top three there. King Puff is there or thereabouts, but has a pretty low play rate comparatively, so I don't think that's something that we need to really worry about too much. And of course, we've got stuff at the bottom. Tronvir, and when I was thinking about this today, I can't tell you the last time I came against a Tronvir in solos. Only 191 games. And just to clarify, this data, as I understand it, is all Diamond Plus matches, not involving bots. So it's a big range of data. One thing that we don't have with the data is we aren't able to break it down into elo bands or ranks, which is obviously something that could be useful, but that's not something we have. So what we're looking at so far is we're looking at a Volko nerf. And one thing actually will be useful here, because we can see that Volko's winning and winning well and often. But if we go down the bottom here, and if you have a look at the stats that we broke down a little bit here, just go down to the bottom for this section. But this is the different perks, okay? So probably need to zoom out a little bit for this one. So the different perk variants, basically. Not sure if we're zoomed out enough. But what we're looking at here is perk 1, Tempest Flaring, perk 2, Burn the Bridges, and then we're comparing the Tempest Burning, which is the normal perk 3 for Volko, and the Infinite Rage, which is the alternate perk 3, where you get the 10 mana over 10 seconds. And then if we look at the win rate, we can see here that this setup with the alt perk has a very high win rate. The win rates on the other perks are pretty strong. The rest of the data is kind of irrelevant. If it says not reached, it means that the game ended before that happened. So that data is not really too useful. Apart from telling us that Volko wins quite a lot early. But yeah, so 67% if we round it up, the perk 3 Infinite Rage, and 54%. So that kind of tells us that Volko is strong, but one of the strongest parts of his arsenal is this Infinite Rage perk. Some of these perks might have slightly different names because these are probably internal names. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. So what we're looking at is maybe a nerf to how much mana he gets from that perk 3. But I've been playing him a little bit today, and maybe I'll put a video together of that. I've just put a deck together and winning most of the games, and a lot of them before perk 3 as well. Right, so we go back here. So that's the potential change that we're talking about to Volko. Ratbo seems very strong, especially in 2v2s. Not sure what the suggested change is for that. Valorant also, very high play rate, 16% of matches in solos, and a 55% win rate. And so what we're looking at there is the suggestion was to change his alternate perk 2, which is the Fervent Warrior. And I think the suggestion was to, instead of it has Divine Shield, reduce that to just a regular shield, but only cost 2 mana. And then if we have a look again at the stats for Valorant, so Valorant has 2 alt perks, remember, alt perk 1 and alt perk 2. So when we look at the different sort of arrangements of perks, there's a lot more options compared to Volko, who only has the 1 perk. But I think, let's have a look what we're looking at here. So Fervor is the perk 2, which has the, which is the Fervent Warrior. So really we want to compare. Let's have a look. Okay, so Searing Light is the normal perk 1. Holy Fire is the old perk 1. So Searing Light and Fervor and normal Divine Light. So that's normal, alt, normal. That has a 65% win rate. So that's the highest win rate for him. 54% is the Searing Light, the Holy Light, and the Divine Light. So fully normal perks. And one thing we need to consider here is a lot of people still don't know that alternate master perks in the game exist. They're still really confused at seeing these things that previously weren't possible. So please, if you're not aware of it, check it out. Each master has at least one alternate master perk that you can change before the game and also in the game, in the match. So click on the master, look at the perks, click on the perks, check them out. So really this suggests that, again, a lot of the strength from Valorant is from this Fervent Warrior. So that's where the nerf is being considered. As I said, not sure what we're going to do about Ratbo. Tromvir is hardly being played at all and hardly being won with at all. Those two are probably linked together. So we can have a look at, if we have a look here at the, not sure. That's not supposed to happen. Maybe we can't do this. Okay, not sure. Okay, well, we won't sort it by that because that's broken, but we'll fix that at some point. So yeah, so the most played masters in solo, Valorant and Wrecked, all with a decently strong win rate. Now, so the idea is, if you nerf something, you're going to bring its win rate down. And then if the win rate comes down, people might be more likely to play other things. Now, interestingly, Apep's only down at 45% win rate, which is shocking compared to what we would have seen before. Especially before alternate master perks came out. Okay, so we've got masters for the other modes, but let's have a look at the cards for solos. Let's just finish off with solos first of all. So these are the win rates and the play rates for the cards. I know there's a lot of data we're going through, and a reminder, I will share this link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. If you want to sort it, I think if you go to data and create filter view, because you don't have access to edit the thing, but you can create a filter view so you can sort it. I don't know why the sorting's not working on the other screen, but it normally is okay. Right, so win rates in 1v1. So the highest one, Lone Ranger, which is some of these, as we said before, internal names. So Lone Ranger is the Lone Scout. Space Marine is... I'm not sure if that's Plasma Marines or if that's Radic. Plasma Marine. Okay, that is Radic. Okay. So Radic a high win rate. Some of these are played with Volko. So Volko having a high win rate then means that these cards also have a high win rate. So you could address these. But 60% is very high. And of course, we're looking at the decks that they've been played in as well to give us an idea of if it's a heavily played card. A really sort of niche card with a very high win rate is not really a problem. But if it's played a lot with a high win rate, then that's something that definitely needs to be considered. Robot Ninja, that's the protocol. Again, I think that's with Volko. Denver, again, that's with Volko. Time Bomb, not being played too much, probably just Whist. But that's Combustion, by the way. Fanatic Slave, that's going to be Thelic. No, not Thelic. Taluk. And interestingly, Mountain Shaper. See, Mountain Shaper's got a 60% win rate in solos, but it's only played 91 times, 0.03%. So someone's just had some luck with that, but that's definitely not going to expand overall. And then, of course, if we go down to the bottom, look at the worst things here. Because, you know, ideally you want the strong things to become weaker. And by doing that, you do make the weak things comparatively stronger. But some things are just still too weak. So, for example, we look down here, the Lich Knight. I assume that's Rendrath. Not being played very much. Only a 25% win rate. Highland Logger. Okay, so the Lich Knight is going to be Ghast. Lich Knight Legendary, that's going to be Rendrath. So a lot of them down here not doing very well. And again, let's see if we can sort it by play rate. So the most played card in solos, according to this data, is going to be Daggerfall. 2% overall play rate, which is the highest, as you can see here. And it's got a 56% win rate. I did suggest a small nerf to Daggerfall, maybe reducing the size of it. I was checking it out just now. And you can basically like almost hit face and almost hit a bridge at the same time. Seems like that's too big. Right, we're not going to go through all this information granularly, of course. This doesn't need to be a 3-hour-long video. You can check it out yourself if you wish to. Right, so Masters. Let's have a look at Masters in randoms. And Ratbo really starts to shine in 2v2s. Highest win rate in randoms. Wrecked, interestingly, also having a pretty high win rate in randoms, which is, again, likely down to his alternate master perk. Now, I haven't created these, like we looked at the Valorant thing. I haven't created those for all the masters, because unfortunately I can't figure out how to do it automatically. And so we're only looking at the created the ones, looking at the ones that are most interesting, really, the most problematic. But nothing dominating too much in randoms. You know, like a 47% win rate is the lowest, 53% win rate. I guess I should probably format these as percents, since everything else is a percent. Would make sense, right? So yeah, nothing too bad there. But then if we look in pre-mades, Ratbo's got a 67% win rate in pre-mades, which is pretty obscene. Don't need the dots, but the zeros, but they're there for. So Setsu down there at 36%, right at the bottom, not getting much love at all. Setsu might get a little nerf, a little buff, but probably not going to change too much there. But yeah, so Ratbo 67%, Diona 58%. And Stormbringer at 52%, but if we look at the play rate data, why does it not do this? Some of them work, some of them doesn't. It must be the area's not set up properly or something. 16% play rate for Stormbringer. So a lot of Stormbringer being played in pre-mates. Right, so that's the Masters. Now, we looked at the cards a little bit. For 2v2, we only have the overall 2v2 data for cards. So that's combined pre-mates and randoms, as I understand it. So again, let's have a look here. We've got a Rocket Scrat at 63%, very high win rate, but pretty low play rate. So again, not really much of an issue. Lone Ranger, which we saw before, the Lone Scout. That's the 2 mana Crystal Archer, basically, that you get for 1 mana if you have nothing else out on the field, which she's kind of awkward because how do you balance her? She probably shares her stats with the Crystal Archers, and how you can't. She either costs 1 mana or 2 mana. There's no sort of in between. She's not going to cost 1.5 mana, so that's kind of a tricky one with her to balance. But that's another kind of problematic card in the case that it's got a very high win rate and it's got a very high play rate. But it's also one of those cards that you probably don't even notice in your matches. It's so unassuming. So what have we got here? Tantrum, Rage Throwers. That's going to be Tantrum Throwers. So again, this is problematic. 55% win rate, little high, but 7,500 matches or decks that it's played in. So hugely played. So there are some suggestions with regards to Rage Throwers. Maybe make them 3 mana. Maybe make them less valuable. Not sure how that's going to turn out. But again, you can be involved in this discussion. Have your suggestions. First look at the suggestions that have been already put in the Discord. Give them a thumbs up or thumbs down based on how you feel regarding them. And then if there isn't a suggestion there for the thing that you want addressed, suggest it yourself. Super easy. Shield God of Light, definitely another strong card. Played a lot and a decently high win rate. Diamedrodon, that's the Wogosaur pup. Again, decently high. So there's stuff here. Rocket Scrat really has a very high win rate, but I don't think that's too problematic since it's not played too much. But then, of course, we can go all the way down to the bottom and see what's really struggling in pre-mades. Armored Escort there at the bottom. Spell Regrow, that's probably Rampant Growth. Vampire Familiar. So that's... Remember that. So that's the Frostfang Familiar, where it's super fast now, and it has a unlimited aggro range on friendly. But obviously still not getting too much love there. Ice Vampire, that's going to be Nazara. Kamikaze Zeppelin, that's all really had a very little play since it ever came out. And Denver dominating in solos, but dying a death in 2v2s. Right, anyway, so if you want to check out the thing, look at the thing in the thing, and click on the thing, and do the thing. But yeah, I just wanted to give you an idea, a highlight of the things that are really sticking out from this data, and as well as the fact that and B, that this data exists, and C, that you can get involved in the balancing process. You know, the devs have done something that not many people expected, and not many companies have necessarily done with their games before, where they've opened up the balance to the community and let the community control it. But it would be nice to get more and more people involved in that and have your say. So as I said, check out the links in the description. They're all going to be there. Link for this, link for the Discord. But yeah, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy Minion Masters, I know this is kind of a boring spreadsheet video, but I think it's quite useful to have a little look at this data. But yeah, if you enjoy Minion Masters and my content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. My name's Bad as a Fish, and I'll see you again soon here in the fish tank.